Welcome to day 3 of Advent of Code 2024. In today's challenge, we are going to get a string of instructions, and then we need to find the instructions inside those strings and work on that. So the instruction that we get is going to be something like this. Let me make this a bit bigger. We get a string like this, which, as you can see, includes some instructions and it's kind of corrupted, so there are some characters that we don't find. We need to search for a pattern like this, something starting with a mol, with a parenthesis, a number which can be 1, 2 or 3 digits, a comma, then another number that can be like 1, 2 or 3 digits, and the closing parenthesis. Any other thing we're going to be ignoring. So if we get to this, although the mol is here, the numbers are correct and the comma is here, but we are getting a square brackets which is not allowed. Or for example here, everything is right, but the ending parenthesis is not there, so we're going to ignore that. So based on this input, we're going to find these substrings, and on each of these substrings we're going to extract these two numbers, and since this is a mol, we need to multiply this by this and then add all the values together. So let's go and see how we can do that. Now here I can close this and make this a bit bigger. So in part 1, I'm first getting the input from this text file, and here I'm defining a pattern. Now this pattern is a regex pattern, and it says that the pattern that we want will start with a mol, and then we have this character, which means that open parenthesis, this is for escaping, so that the parenthesis is not considered as a instruction, but the parenthesis like L, for example, or U as a normal character. So from here to here means that look for something like this. Then we get to this part. Well, /d means that there is a digit character 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 9, and this part says that it's going to be either 1, 2 or 3 of those. So here we get like 1, 2, 3 is going to be matched. Then we get this, which will be like itself, and then again another 3 character string of digits, so like 4, 5, 6, and then we are escaping the ending parentheses. And this /g means that search through the whole string and find all the occurrences. If we removed it, it will find only the first one. Okay, so by this pattern we now can find all the occurrences that match what we want. Then here we have the instructions, and we match the data that we get here by the pattern. So if we look at the instructions, we will get an array like this, and we're ignoring all the others. So if I go to here, you can see all of these are being ignored up to here, for example. Then we need to extract numbers from those instructions. So from this one, we're going to extract this and this, multiply this, and add it to the previous accumulator that we have. In order to do that, one of the ways is using the reduce. The reduce function will get an array and work on that array by the callback function that we provide here, and then returns a single value. One of the common ways to use for example, summing the numbers inside an array. And that's basically what we are doing. So we would reduce these instructions to, this is an accumulator, and this is each instruction. So first time it's going to be this, then it's going to be this, and so forth. Now we get the left and right from that instruction. Now here we match the instruction against only numbers. So here this will be matched against this and this. Okay, so 632 and 14. And just like here, it would give us an array. So if I say instruction.match this will give me an array. For example, 23 and then like 4. Okay. So this is what we're doing here. So we get this, and then I am putting this 24 to the left and 4 to the right. This is basically just like saying this is equal to a variable. So like, for example, here I can say x, and then I can say x of 0 is going to be left and x of y is going to be right. So that's doing the whole process in one go. Then I would multiply these two together and add it to the accumulator. And in the end, I'm returning the accumulator, and we are starting that accumulator by number 0. So this reduce function will get a callback and an initial value. So this was part 1. Let's go to part 2. In part 2, it looks like there are 2 more instructions that we ignored on, but we need to consider them here. There are 2 instructions, the instruction do and the instruction don't. The things these do will they will set a flag. The do will set the enables flag to true. This one will set the enable flag to false. And the mul function will work basically based on that enable flag. So if we go and get to the mul and see that there is a do before that, which means that the enable has been set to true, then we will consider this and we will multiply these 2 numbers together. Otherwise, if there is a don't before a mul, we will ignore that mul. So again, we start from here. By default, the enables is set to true, so we would multiply these 2 numbers. Then we go here, this is not a valid. We go here, we get to don't, so we set the enables to false. We go here, we get to a correct mul, but the enables is set to false, so we ignore this. We go to here, this is not valid, so we go here. This is valid, but we have a don't before that, so this is disabled. Ignore this one. We go to get to a do, so this will re-enable the flag that we have, and then we get to this mul. So we would multiply here, and in the end we used this one and this one, so the result will be like this, 48. Now this shows that not only we need to find this, but these and these as well, and then we'll basically work on those 2. So let's go to the code. Now the difference between this pattern and this pattern is that here I said either find this or, well, this is an or. Either find this or find do or find don't. So this pattern will also find do's and don'ts, just like what we have here. Then, as the instruction says, we set the enabled to true, and then we look at all the instructions that we have. If we get to a do, we set the enabled to true. If we get to a don't, we set the enabled to false, and if we get to one of these, then we take a look at is enabled. Is it true? Then we use that instruction. Otherwise, we skip that instruction. So here we say for all the instructions, reduce it just like what we had here. If the instruction is do, we just set the enable to true. If it's don't, set the instruction to false. Otherwise, it's going to be one of these, multiplication. Check if enabled is true, then you can go and do this just like what we had here. and then do the calculation here. We get the numbers from this, and if those numbers exist, we would do this multiplication as we are doing it right up in the part 1. And then in the end, we just return the ACC and log the sum. And this will provide us with this result. So the important part here is to know how to use this regex. Otherwise, it's going to be messy try to find out all the occurrences of this mul instruction or do or don't instruction. The rest is going to be very simple reduce function with some ifs and else's. Hope you have enjoyed the video and see you in the next day.